This is the Yankees Postcast, your instant game reaction for the New York Yankees. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, that's 3 straight wins for the Yankees. They beat the Mariners for a second consecutive night. Final score tonight, 9-6. Cam Schlittler made his major league debut and fared pretty well. We'll get to it. He was helped offensively by Jazz Chisolm Jr. Jazz, not 1 but 2 home runs. Devin Williams locked down the ninth inning to earn the save. And again, 9-6 the final. Not only did the Yankees win a game, they picked up a game on the Blue Jays as well. Blue Jays lose to the White Sox 2-1. Their win streak is over. Hello, everybody. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. Glad to have you aboard. Follow me on X as well, at Jay Berman, Jayberman. Welcome to the Locked On Yankees Postcast, both on the Locked On Yankees YouTube channel and the Locked On Yankees podcast feed. The Postcast gives you a place to chat after every game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. As we said, 9-6 the final score, and away we go.
This is what you'll be talking about.
All right, lots to get to. An eventful day for the Yankees before, during, and after, specifically on and off the field. We'll get to it, specifically DJ LeMahieu. Again, we'll get to him coming up. But again, an eventful day for the Yankees. We'll start with Cam Schlittler, who again, at 24, making his major league debut, the 9th starting pitcher the Yanks have used this season. And this will encapsulate where the Yankees have been this year and where they are now. Schlittler threw the 7 fastest pitches by a Yankee this season already in one start, in half a start. Again, to repeat, he's thrown the 7 fastest pitches by a Yankee this season, and he's thrown, 5 1/3 innings to earn the win. Anyways, always makes for some great stats. Congrats to Cam Schlittler, who really was pretty good. 5 1/3, 4 hits, 3 earned, 2 walks, 7 Ks, allowed 2 home runs, threw only 75 pitches to get through his 5 1/3. You could tell Aaron Boone wanted to get him a round of applause, a standing ovation, so he takes him out in the middle of an inning. But again, only 75 pitches. Thought he might actually go further. And considering what Jonathan Loaisiga did tonight, maybe Schlittler should have gone even further. That's a discussion for another day. Loaisiga was picked up by Luke Weaver, who was then picked up by Devin Williams, and the rest is history. Again, 9-6 the final score. Yanks now 10 games above 500 at 51-41. And as we said, the Blue Jays' long win streak is history. They fall to the White Sox today, 2-1. So the Yanks pick up a game on the Blue Jays in the division. Yanks are now 28-17 at home as well. So they fared quite well, thank you very much, in the Bronx. And break up the Yanks. As we said, a 3-game win streak. It's their first 3-game win streak since sweeping the Royals 10, 11, and 12 of June, folks. It's been a month since the Yanks last won 3 in a row. And, of course, since they last won 3 in a row, they've had 2 separate 6-game losing skids. Hopefully, the Yanks have turned the corner. Of course, taking the last one against the Mets in the Subway Series on Sunday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday nights against Seattle, getting the job done. They'll go for the sweep tomorrow. More on that coming up. But again, Cam Schlittler was pretty good. Throws hard, obviously, triple digits. 5 1/3, 4 hits, 3 earned, 2 walks, 7 Ks. Did allow 2 home runs, but so did Jonathan Loaisiga. And we've got some stats on him because he, simply put, has not been good enough. It was an important bullpen game for multiple reasons tonight. 1, because you weren't sure how far Schlittler was going to go. 2, we've got Marcus Stroman tomorrow, who's going to max out at 5, maybe if you're lucky, 6 innings. So you're going to need 12 to 15 outs once again from the bullpen. So again, a hugely important night tonight, as we said, because of the rookie, making his debut, and obviously because of Stroman tomorrow. Well, Jonathan Loaisiga didn't get the memo. He allowed 2 home runs in 24 pitches. In fact, the very first pitch he throws to Randy Arozarena, out of here. And of course, he'd later give up another home run. Discussion, what has happened to Jonathan Loaisiga? And of course, they talked about it on the broadcast, so we'll talk about it here on the postcast. Since 2022, Jonathan Loaisiga, in 3 seasons, 22, 23, and 24, combined allowed 5 home runs. In 2025 alone, through the first half of the season, Loaisiga, who of course missed a chunk of time due to injury, has allowed 6 home runs. And that includes 2 tonight. However, as bad as it was for Loaisiga, as important a night it was for Luke Weaver, who bounced back. Of course, Weaver had allowed a home run in 3 consecutive appearances. Not so much tonight. An inning and 2/3. So he recorded 5 outs, needed just 17 pitches, struck out 3. In fact, of those 17 pitches, 3 were balls. So Weaver back on that horse. Tremendous work from him. So again, really a tale of 2 stories, if you will. Loaisiga, horrible. Weaver, great. And as for Devin Williams, once again, great. He, of course, is firmly entrenched in that 9th inning role. His 13th save, 12 pitches, 2 strikeouts, did not allow a runner. And again, he earns his 13th save of the season. As for the offense, Jazz Chisholm, as we said, hit 2 more home runs. Jazz now has 17 on the season. And he also has 43 RBIs. Jason Dominguez, again, out of the leadoff hole, 3 more hits, ups his average to 269. Several players you might not hear from again anytime soon. Tongue in cheek, but you get the point. Trent Grisham, Ben Rice. Back-to-back games without Grisham and Rice, and obviously LeMahieu, because the Yanks went exactly the way they went on Tuesday, on Wednesday, as far as the lineup. So again, Dominguez 3 hits at the top. Every starter, with the exception of Peraza, who's going to play third base, had a hit. 2 each for Jazz, Austin Wells, Cody Bellinger, and of course, Jason Dominguez had 3. As we said, Oswald Peraza now hitting 152. But he's there for the defense. And considering the way the offense has been for the Yanks, why not keep Peraza's glove in there? Who's going to play third base anyways? We'll get to that coming up. By the way, the Yanks have now scored 5 or more runs in 8 straight games. So again, we discussed this during the Mets series. We really discussed it even further back in the Toronto series. It's not the offense. The offense is not the problem with the Yankees, despite the fact that we love that we finally got some redundancy with the lineup, if you will, on Tuesday and Wednesday. But still, even with the holes in the lineup, like Peraza and even Anthony Volpe, the offense is not the problem. Even when you're pitching around Aaron Judge, the offense is clicking. It has been clicking. Another double-digit hit night, 13 tonight. Again, 9 runs on 13 hits. And again, the Yankees are now 10 games above 500 at 51-41. And as we said, they picked up a game on the Blue Jays in the American League East. As we said, 5+ runs in 8 straight games for the Yanks. Their first 3-game win streak since early June in Kansas City against the Royals. After that point, things got messy, and the Yanks have just never been the same since. However, it seems like we may have turned the corner. Good Seattle team in town. They've taken the first 2. They've done it with offense. They got a boost from Cam Schlittler tonight. We'll have to wait and see if there is an additional 2 or 3 or 4 or even more starts for Schlittler here in 2025. Who knows? Obviously, it comes at a time where His next start would be lined up right around the All-Star break. So the Yanks will get bailed out there unless they give him one more start against the Cubs. Before that All-Star break, again, the Cubs come in for 3 after the Mariners wrap up their series tomorrow on Thursday. So again, we told you about Jazz, who for the 7th time in his career, amazing, his 7th career multi-home run game, the 4th time he's done that in a Yankee uniform. 4 times he's hit multiple home runs in a Yankee uniform. He came off the IL on June 3rd. It's now July 9th. He's hit 10 home runs in essentially the space of a month. He's been great. The only American League players with more home runs since that date are, you guessed it, Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh, who both have 13 since June 3rd. And again, Jazz has 10. And Jazz was coming off the IL. So again, kudos to Jazz. So lots of game balls to throw around. As we said, Jazz hit the 2 home runs. Jason Dominguez had 3 hits. Cody Bellinger extended his hitting streak. And of course, Cam Schlittler and the bullpen, with the exception of Jonathan Loaizaga, were all great. So again, a good night for the Yankees. We'll give out the game ball next. And obviously we've got to do DJ LeMahieu, if you hadn't heard by now, designated for assignment, no longer a New York Yankee. We'll discuss that coming up next. All right, if you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had an urgent need, maybe for a plumber or a service provider. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait? Probably not. You moved on, and that's why you need Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer and communications, all from an app on your phone or computer. Open Phone lets me manage business calls and texts from a single app. The shared inbox feature is a game changer too. Your team can jump into any conversation instantly without missing a beat. And their AI agent handles after-hours calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so you never miss a customer. OpenPhone is offering my listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnMLB. That's openphone.com/LockedOnMLB. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. All right, up next is FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet ride into the 9th inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, we are back, and without further ado,
this is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Important nights for Jazz, for Luke Weaver, for Devin Williams. None of them are getting the game ball. Player of the game goes to Cam Schlittler, who at 24 became the 9th starter the Yanks have used this season. And of course, he was great. 5 1/3, 4 hits, 3 earned, 2 walks, 7 Ks, 2 home runs, threw 75 pitches, 52 for strikes. He earns his very first major league win. And again, 7 strikeouts. He was pumping heat. As we said, he has now thrown the 7 fastest pitches by a Yankee this season. All his, all in one start. Really, the first half of the start, he was pumping gas in that first half of the start. So again, game ball to Cam Schlittler, who was awesome. It was great to see his family there as well. All right. As we said, one more game with Seattle before 3 with the Cubs before the All-Star break. Before we get there, you've heard by now, DJ LeMahieu no longer a Yankee. He has been designated for assignment. He does have one more year remaining on his contract, which the Yanks will obviously have to pay him. It comes to roughly $22 million through next year. So it's half of this year and all of next year. He gets the money, but he's no longer on the team. And you got to wonder if that's the end of DJ LeMahieu as a major leaguer. Again, he's had an amazing career, 2-time batting champion. But again, the Yankees said goodbye to him today. Yorbi Vivas, the corresponding move for DJ. So you might see Vivas at some point spell Peraza at third base, although you hate taking that Peraza glove out of there. Regardless, point is LeMahieu is no longer a Yankee. So you're not going to see LeMahieu. You might not see Grisham or Ben Rice anytime soon, especially if the lineup is clicking like this. But this is what we needed from the Yankees. We needed the pieces to fall into place. We needed things to shake out to where we could see guys not necessarily pick up more bench time, if you know what I mean, but where the appropriate starters were in place, namely Jason Dominguez, because he has to play every day. Is he ready to play center field? Probably not. So Cody Bellinger has to play center field. You're not going to put his bat on the bench, which means Trent Grisham goes to the bench, which also means if Giancarlo Stanton's going to DH and Paul Goldschmidt's going to play first base, no Ben Rice either. So literally 48 to 72 hours ago, we were wondering where and if DJ should play at all. Where's Ben Rice going to play? Where's Trent Grisham going to play? Where's Jason Dominguez going to play? Well, you know what? Last 2 nights, last 48 hours, the answers are in. We'll just have to wait and see if for a third consecutive night, Aaron Boone plugs in that same lineup. It would be nice to see. All right, Marcus Stroman, Brian Wu are your starters for Thursday. And again, that is a night game before 3 with the Cubs, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thanks for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also want to mention our partners in crime at Locked On Yankees, Stacey Goutsoulias and Brian McKim. Follow, subscribe, and enjoy. They are the best. Again, 9-6, the final score. Yanks now 51-41. And to boot, they picked up a game on the Blue Jays, who saw their win streak come to an end. They lose to the White Sox 2-1. So again, Yanks pick up a game on Toronto in the division. 3 straight wins for the Yanks. They'll go for the sweep tomorrow. We will see you immediately following Yanks and Mariners Thursday night. Have a great night, everyone.